Hello, squatters. Welcome back to another episode of the Squatter Camp podcast. We are still here monitoring all the activities for the build up to the 2026 local government elections. Helen Zille from Democratic Alliance has actually come out. It was too obvious for me anyway to, for Helen Zille to come out as a mayoral candidate. Who else from the Democratic Alliance can have that kind of an influence? From a political point of view, Helen Zille is the most influential figure, both in her own political party and in the political space. You would remember last year when we had the general elections, and after that, there were meetings back and forth and all of that. So she was very instrumental. I just want to bring this picture to you that she was very, very instrumental when it comes to shaping the politics just after when the ANC has actually lost the outright majority for the very first time since 1994. We know that they lost due to their corruption, due to misbehaving and taking advantage of people and lying to most especially black people. And this is the medicine they have been preparing for their own people, not knowing that one day they will actually test the very same medicine. Now I want to get to the point. Helen Zille has come out to be a mayoral candidate for Johannesburg. Here's my honest view. 2 months or a month ago, I think I shot an episode to say there's going to be only two contenders that will actually influence the whole political space for the mayorship in Johannesburg. You would remember Herman Mashaba was a mayor from Democratic Alliance when he was still there as a member of Democratic Alliance. And Herman Mashaba has been someone who has been very consistent when it comes to explaining the reasons why he left the Democratic Alliance and what exactly happened. I think the person who never really kind of come out and explain themselves is Mmusi Maimane. Mmusi Maimane is someone who doesn't really have, guts to speak truth to the power. He's someone who's having those symptoms of being a coward. So Herman Mashaba is someone who came out to say Helen Zille was very much against him rendering the service to black communities in Johannesburg, citing the fact that they don't pay for the services, so they don't deserve to get services. Now it got to question myself that, is this really true? And if that was true, why now she wants to be a mayor of Johannesburg when she was, yes, we agree, she was a premier for two consecutive terms in the Western Cape, and they are saying she was running a clean audit and whatever. I'm worried about one thing. People in Gugulethu, people in Khayelitsha continued to flourish in sewer system that's leaking, no water, in fact, let me say poor infrastructure, squatter camps, and packed like sardines in those areas. And you can see that in the Western Cape, the Democratic Alliance is actually rendering services to white people, in white areas, people who are well off, people who can afford things. So that actually takes me to the very same argument that Mr. Herman Mashaba had to say, this is the person who was very much against me when I was rendering the service to all the people in Johannesburg, citing that because black people don't pay for the services, they don't deserve to get those services. Only in white areas where people can afford, people are paying. Yes, people who are staying in the suburbs, they pay for the services. 80 to 90% of them, they are paying because they can afford. 70 to 80% of people who are staying in squatter camps, who are staying in townships, don't pay for the service because they can afford, because they are unemployed. There's poverty. It's very chaotic. Those are the problems that everybody knows, and we can't argue about that. So I'm gonna play this clip when Helen Zille is talking about her becoming the mayoral candidate, what she can do to make Gauteng a better place to be. I'm not convinced. I'm not completely convinced, because for that reason, that as Black people, we are not going to receive services from Helen Zille. It's a fact. Few Black people who are staying in suburbs might kind of buy into her story, because they know they can afford, they stay in suburbs. The Cyril Ramaphosa's, Julius Malemas, and many other people who are staying in upmarket suburbs where they pay a lot of money for the services, and they know they can afford, and they know they will get the services. Unlike now under the ANC's Tata Morero, they still continue not to receive the services despite the amount of money that they pay for the services that they sometimes they don't receive. So let's watch this clip. It's Helen Zille. This is a campaign trail. It's nothing but just a campaign trail. There's nothing to expect from Democratic Alliance if you are a Black person. I'm not running a race card here, but I'm just telling the truth. Exactly. And I can, like I said, that Guguletu, Kaelicha, all those squatter camps area in the Western Cape, they still continue to be marginalized. They still continue not to receive services. And this is the person who was the premier there for 10 years and wants to come to Joburg to say she will do better. It's quite questionable.
Just over 30 years later, many of its own residents see it as a place to flee. Joburg is South Africa's most devastating example of what bad government can do to great people. You feel it with every pothole on Louis Botha Avenue or on the Golden Highway, arteries of our city that have been left to crumble. You smell it when you walk down Pritchard Street in the CBD, and others littered with rubbish and choked by illegal dumping. You see it when you open your tap in Coronation Hall, or right here in Soweto and no water comes out, or when you sit in darkness during endless power cuts in Roodepoort, Randburg and Eldorado Park. Your heart sinks when you think of the hijacked buildings of Hillbrow and Berea, where I once lived in dignity, but where families now live in danger. And you can see it in the fear gripping the suburbs, where people hunker down behind high walls and razor wire. Joburg now symbolizes the burden that bad government places on great people. There is a better way, and it is the DA way of government. If you don't believe me, as John said, just ask the president. With perfect timing, President Ramaphosa this week showed the boldness we've all been waiting for.
When politicians are campaigning, people get so much excited. People, we have got that. We get into that space where we get so much excited. We get carried away. We want to vote tomorrow. We want to put her tomorrow. Let's regain our conscience and think twice about whatever we want to do, because politicians are very skillful. You know, we have seen many of them saying they will save South Africa. They will do this for black people, to be specific, because that is where the main target, all these political parties, they target black communities because we are huge in numbers, and they know that they can source out more votes from us. But please be careful, black people, and be careful who you vote for. And you need to vote for something that really resonates with you. Herman Mashaba came after, Helen Zille. As much as they are the main contenders, in my opinion. I don't know. I'll hear from the comment section what you think. But he came also and said exactly the same thing that he has been saying all this time. And that Helen Zille colluded with the ANC to take him out. And if you check now, because we are in the government of national unity, the ANC and the EFF, the Democratic Alliance, is one thing, is the same thing. That is why Cyril Ramaphosa campaigned for the Democratic Alliance in an ANC gathering. So that's how close they are. They sleep in the same blanket. So sometimes they forget where they belong. He maybe kind of thought he belongs to the DA. He kind of thought that no, DA is not really a threat. That is why but he couldn't mention anything about any other political party. But to be specific, the Democratic Alliance, he's so obsessed with Democratic Alliance. And if you know Cyril Ramaphosa, you will understand why. Cyril Ramaphosa has never really loved the ANC. He has been obsessed with the National Party from apartheid. And now he switched to this new NP, which is Democratic Alliance. These are federal parties which are sponsored by people from overseas, especially America, so their biggest sponsors are somewhere there. So they tell them what to do. They do exactly what they are being told. So I'm not really kind of convinced about Helen Zille, but I want us to watch this clip of Mr. Herman Mashaba of ActionSA.
This news are not really coming as a surprise. That surprise was announced a few months already. So I think all of us expected Helen Zille to really be the mayoral candidate for the city of Johannesburg. And as we've indicated as ActionSA, we welcome any South African to contest any municipality. Their party chooses them to really be the candidate. So Helen and the DA, it's up to them. But what we find it actually quite interesting is the fact that in the city where Helen governed, the city of Cape Town, the one that they claim to really be successful. Please, I just invite anyone to really go to Khayelitsha, Gugule, Trilanga, the Cape Flats, and go and see the deprivation of services to our people. And I think this also takes me back to the days when I volunteered my services to be the mayoral candidate for Johannesburg, and eventually becoming one under very difficult trying circumstances. And Helen was the one responsible negotiating with the ANC, using the information about targeting 35 billion rands of fraud and corruption, approaching the ANC, working with the IRR for my removal, because I was focusing service delivery on black townships, hitting our people, saying to me that we should not really be providing services to people who don't pay taxes, to people who don't vote for the DA. And that's something that I ask for protection from the DA, Federal Council, and all their structures all the time for defense, that when you are a constitutional mayor of a city, you provide services to everyone. You cannot just obviously decide to only provide services to those who voted for you or give you the funding. You provide services particularly to the marginalized. If you look at our areas, Guguletu or Kaelicha, now you can imagine people of Soweto, are they going to be deprived of getting services from Helen herself, who negotiated with the ANC for my removal? Then fast forward to 2021 when we voted them into power without her permission, with, making sure that not even listening to John's DNAs and collapse the administration of Dr. The previous mayor of the DA. Now, what this message sends to Black South Africans that Helen is really one person that I don't believe anyone can help her out. She doesn't really trust Black leadership. I can imagine Black leaders in Gauteng. What are they saying about this?
I can give Herman Mashaba a benefit of doubt for one reason. I know for the fact that he has got a potential to reclaim the city of Johannesburg, the CBD. That town, Johannesburg, is occupied by illegal immigrants. 90% to 95% of people who are staying there are Nigerians, Mozambicans, Zimbabweans, and those are just migrants there. South Africans are not there. There's a high rate of crime there. At some point, Herman Mashaba wanted to reclaim that city. And his own political party, including the ANC, they were very much against it. Because I believe these politicians, they are benefiting from these drug cartels, brothel houses, prostitution and everything. They are in cahoots with these people. We have seen them corner the explosive report that politicians and some journalists, by the way, they are pushing a certain narrative. Politicians are directly involved in these things. So I can give that Herman Mashaba a benefit of doubt. And I'm going to talk about all these other political parties. If you talk about the MKP, I don't really pay attention to who they are going to bring as a mayoral candidate in Johannesburg. I'm not sure if they have already done that or they are still going to do that. They are still trying to, to get their business in order so that they can announce. But I'm not expecting anything from parties like the EFF because they don't speak to us Black people. As much as they claim to be revolutionary movements and all of that, they are not resonating with many of us for so many reasons. I know they announced their candidate. I was not even paying attention because I expect nothing from them. That political party is a cult and it's busy instilling fear towards its own Black people. It's the same as being in Zimbabwe and governed by ZANU-PF. You are always in trauma, you are always scared, you don't know what's going to happen because he can do whatever he wants. Emmerson Mnangagwa can do whatever he wants to his people. His people are like his cows, are like his livestock. He doesn't take them seriously. He doesn't even value their lives, value their safety, value their well-being. The healthcare has collapsed. Everything has collapsed. This is the reason why Zimbabweans are so obsessed with South Africa, because it is their Hollywood, it is their dream. Anyway, I'm not there. So you talk about Bosa, I don't expect nothing from Bosa because Bosa is just a spaza shop and it will end there. I don't expect anything from Maibuye because it's, it's a popcorn. It's something that came out now. So, but these two political parties, Democratic Alliance and ActionSA, will be the main contenders. Another problem that I have not raised is that Democratic Alliance was voted for in Tshwane in 2016 and for the local government. And when they came in there, what they did, they put Solim Simang as a mayor there. Yo, there was a mess. I regretted, putting DA there because we were part of that. We voted for DA to say, in the local government elections, let's put DA because people are saying, no, we should give white people a chance, they put Solim Simang there. Solim Simang hired bouncer in very senior position, someone who doesn't even qualify. Ooh, higher position. I was like, yo, politics, you are showing us flames now. Flames. So those are the things that you get to question. Where was Granny when Solim Simang did all of this? Putting a bouncer into a senior, the most senior. You could have at least made him a VIP protector or something. I don't know. But on a senior position, that was the last straw that I was like, these things are the same. They are all the same. Currently, we have a mayor there, Nasipi Moy. Honestly, she's doing good so far. She's not perfect, but she's doing good. And I saw I think 2 days back, she posted on her Twitter page to say, I walked around Tshwane, it's clean, and the EFF wanted to claim the credits and saying Gauteng is the one who's responsible for cleaning and all of that. That's politics, but at the end of the day, that city is now stable. It's no longer chaotic. I don't know, squatters. I'll hear from you, your views, but having Helen Zille as the mayor wouldn't change a life of a black person. That's my conclusion. If you say Herman Mashaba, I can agree with you because he has been there. We have seen what he has done. He has got some kind of reference. And yes, black people were receiving services. And yes, that's the reason why he was removed. And yes, the security officers were hired permanent. They did pushed out contractors there and hired security officers, insourced them actually into the municipality. We are seeing them every time when we walk around Joburg. We see them. And also the cleaners were also insourced. So those are the things that black people need. Those are real solutions. Because at the end of the day, whether you are illiterate, whether you are educated, you want to provide for your family, you want a good salary, you want the benefits and all of that. So someone who can do that has got a potential to actually, have some kind of an impact, as opposed to people singing to a fallacy, something that's just happening now. Someone screaming and then you vote for them, and then tomorrow you don't get services. And tomorrow she comes again and say, you are not paying for the services, therefore you don't deserve to get those services. So I wouldn't really say Helen Zille is the best candidate, because I've seen in Western Cape what has been happening, and it still continues to happen. So we will see, squatters, who comes out. But yeah, it has started. The campaigns have started. Thank you very much for watching my content. We'll engage next time, and I'll hear on the comment section what exactly you think about these mayoral candidates of Johannesburg. I don't want to talk about Patriotic Alliance. It's rotten. I don't want to talk about that thing. Please, I'm avoiding to talk about it because they brought the same questionable character into the space. So desperate. So desperate. Someone who was found at a house of an alleged murder, a hitman. He has never cleared himself. We don't understand his position. Anyway, I'll see you next time, squatters. Sharp.